Duckboat Dispatch, episode number 55. Sarah's here, Josh is here, I am here, Jaylen Brown is not here, Paul George is Boston Celtic. It's all going to hell. What is going on? Brad Stevens, what are you doing?
Oh, how you're smiling right now, to be quite frank. I don't know how you are.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you.
Because we're recording the pod. I'm always happy when we record the pod.
Yeah, fair, but I feel like this is an exception.
This is a day of mourning.
So, there's so much to get to, because it felt like every 35 minutes since this morning, a new report has come out about Jaylen Brown, a new report has come about Boston Celtics. We're going to dive into all of that. Let's go back to the very beginning. 6:15-ish yesterday, 6:30-ish yesterday, the news comes from Shams Charania. Jaylen Brown traded away from the Boston Celtics after 10 years of service to not only a rival team, a division rival, a team that just beat you in the playoffs, that came back from a 3-1 deficit, the Philadelphia 76ers. Oh, we must have gotten some good pieces. 36-year-old Paul George, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and one of those first-round picks is in 5 years in 2031.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So what is that? A 7th grader? They traded Jaylen Brown for a 7th grader?
Don't forget the 2 second-rounders and the fact that we kept Ugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman. Don't forget those very significant pieces.
And I don't know if you just one of the newer reports that came out about 45 minutes ago, Giannis was about to sign off on a trade to the Celtics as long as they agreed to give him a 3-year extension, but they only wanted to give him a 2-year extension. So we really were splitting hairs over 12 months, 3-point-per-game players. There's so much to get into, and we're going to try to get into as much as we can in about an hour, hour and a half. That's how long we like to keep these episodes. But I think the first thing that I thought of is, and that's what I want to go to, is, what was your initial gut reaction once you get past the shock? Because, Josh, you were laughing. Sarah, you said it was extremely rude. And I was like, oh my God, I can't stand Paul George. This is the worst. But
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought Paul George was like a drag. Like, when I heard the name Paul George, I thought he was like, I don't know.
Because it's 2 first names.
I mean, he has a lot of nicknames, and I know some drag queens go by.
I knew the name, but I didn't know why I knew the name. And then when they said, because I'm not a basketball girl. I know the very bare minimum of basketball. All I know from basketball is that my sister used to play, and I kind of sort of know what is going on. But not really. With that said, I don't know anyone outside of the realm of the Boston Celtics that isn't LeBron James or Kobe Bryant. Oh, I know who Shaq is. But
the Celtics pretty much just traded for Shaq when this is like when they traded for Shaq. They have old, washed up Shaq. The only difference is Paul George is at least skinny and not fat like Shaq was at that time.
Can I just say about Paul George too? The other thing a lot of people forget, he was suspended for drug use, by the way, this season.
Oh, awesome.
A lot of people are forgetting that aspect. He was suspended for drug use this season. So not only did we get a washed up 36-year-old, very expensive Paul George, you also got a guy who, again, was suspended for drug problems.
It was a PED thing. Those pop up. I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, but it's another thing to add on top of this.
But have we ever had that issue with Jaylen Brown?
Okay, but do you remember when Julian Edelman got suspended for PEDs and what was it, 2017?
I still thought that was bullshit.
Okay, and that was just like it was a recovery thing. Like, I'm not gonna whoop-de-doo. I mean, I was more like, oh great, 25 games minus 82, still pretty far off from 37 games played in a season. That's not great. But no, my initial thought process was, once you get past the shock, and that's where I want to get us to, because the shock factor is, you got to push back that, because you're just like, wow, what are we doing? To me, the first thing I thought was, this is a look into how the NBA views Jaylen Brown, and the trade value that we all thought Jaylen Brown commanded around the league, a guy who just finished top 6 in MVP voting, given there were players injured, but bare minimum, no, I don't care how you want to slice it up, he is a bare minimum top 15 player in the NBA. I would argue closer to 10. And he pulled a 36-year-old making a horrible amount of money and 2 first-round draft picks. That's less than what we saw Kawhi Leonard go for. And Kawhi Leonard didn't even have close to the season that Jaylen Brown had and has been as inconsistent as you can be in the NBA. So to me, that's where my mindset, what my mind went immediately was, we all value Jaylen Brown at a higher level than NBA GMs and NBA execs have. And that makes sense why the report came out from Bobby Marks a few days ago that analytically he's like the 7th best. Some GMs view him as the 7th best guy on a team. And that's why you're seeing all the analytics come out now that while he was really a net negative on the team when he's on the floor, and that when he was off the floor, the Celtics were statistically a better basketball team. So that's why you're seeing all this stuff come out right now. The smear campaign is on Jaylen Brown. And to hear words like, because they want to make it seem like you're already seeing reports that the relationship was way more toxic than we ever could have imagined. The Celtics viewed him as a headache with all of the Twitch streaming. Other NBA GMs have called him a disease. That was the report from Colin Cowherd today. So it was, with all of that, it makes it seem like, and I cannot defend the trade whatsoever, and I will not defend the trade. It was and is the worst trade in Boston sports history since Babe Ruth, and that was pre-World War II, I want to say. So
I'd say until Mookie. I'd say the Mookie trade was the last bad one.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
I mean, yeah, that was the last bad one, but I think this is worse than Mookie Betts.
Well, yeah, but if we're just talking about recency.
I think that depends. If you're looking at it as an analytical statistic point of view, yes. But if you're looking at it as like a fan being heartbroken that your favorite player is gone, then it's up to opinion.
I mean, they were not trying to, make the team better. In a sense, they were trying to get rid of him. Like, they were done with Jaylen Brown is what that shows me.
Their goal for this off season was to get rid of Jaylen Brown, and they
and the return shows you that they don't, the league doesn't value him the way we thought they did.
No, well, we knew they didn't.
Well,
we knew that.
The league is probably. Do you think some teams use that as kind of like a leverage point against Brad to say hey, we don't value Jaylen Brown, so we're going to dwindle our offer against you? Do you think that was a leverage?
I don't know how Brad got fleeced like this. I don't.
This is why we need the press. I need the press conference from him immediately, because my immediate reaction is this is a fireable offense for
Agreed.
Brad. This is 100% a fireable offense. And so I don't want to Brad just won Executive of the Year. Executive of the Year, my ass. First of all, I need the press conference first, because if I don't get it, I'm going to keep saying to fire Brad. I need the reasoning for this. I need the reasoning, because if you don't, if we go the entire offseason without hearing from Brad whatsoever, which I assume we'll hear from him soon, but if we don't hear from him for a while, the narrative is just going to be Brad Stevens panicked, made a cowardly, cheap move for Jaylen Brown, and is essentially just a loser of a GM right now. That's how I'm viewing it right now without reasoning, which is why I don't think it's fair to call Brad Stevens that until I get my reasoning. But I don't know what to think of Brad Stevens right now, because we've been saying for the past – when did he take over? The late 2010s? What was the year he took over? 2019?
2020s?
Something like that. So for the past half decade, we've been saying that Brad Stevens is one of the best GMs. And then you come out and you make the worst move, quite frankly, in Boston sports history in years. In years. You make the worst Celtics move in franchise history. There is no way in hell Brad Stevens is that much of an idiot to make that move. There is no way in hell, unless the flip somehow just got switched. There is no way in hell Brad is that dumb to make that kind of move, which is why I think there's more to it.
I do want to, but once we get through all the reactions to the trade, I do want to get to put the potential reasoning behind this later on in the episode, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But I still want to keep it here with the raw reaction that you have. I mean, Josh, you obviously went to fire Brad, and you called me, you got my honest reaction. You were on the I was like, what are we doing? And this is the same thing everybody's thought. Josh, but no Celtics fan can wrap their head around this, because from a basketball standpoint, the team that beat you, they got better, you got worse. Paul George worse than Jaylen Brown without a doubt, and maybe he's a better fit around Tatum, which tease for the reasoning of why it might be that they did this move. But I don't believe that is the best move that Brad's, the best package Brad could have gotten. And I know there's reports about ownership maybe stepping in, which again, we'll get into that later as well. But you're right, Josh. There's no way that Brad Stevens, this is the best deal he could have gotten.
They quit on Jaylen Brown. That was the whole thing. This wasn't Jaylen Brown trying to force his way out like we did with we saw with Jimmy Butler back when he was on the Timberwolves. This was the Celtics quitting on Jaylen Brown. Now, who does that involve? That can involve many people. It can involve Brad Stevens, obviously. It could involve ownership. It could probably involve Mazzulla. And quite frankly, it could involve Tatum as well. Because we haven't heard from Tatum about any of this, Tom. And I know you're making that face right now saying, oh, it can't be my glorious GOAT. But it might. It might. It quite frankly might have something to do with Tatum, quite frankly. But bottom line, the Celtics quit on their finals MVP, their longest tenured player, the guy who carried their ass this past season to the second seed. And for all these people saying that Jaylen Brown blew it in Game 7, the whole team effing blew it. The whole team played like ass throughout the entire series in the games that they blew it. So it's not just Jaylen Brown didn't pull it together and pull off the Game 7 victory. The whole team played like ass. Tom, I brought this point up a while ago. We talked about this a long time ago when we were playing the blame game for that series. We said that in order, 3 choices. You have Tatum and Brown, the role players, and Joe Mazzulla. Where the hell did we have Tatum and Brown on that list?
We had them at last.
We had them at dead last. And so for those people saying that Jaylen Brown couldn't pull it together for this series that they blew against the 3-1 lead against the 76ers, you're effing wrong, quite frankly. You're quitting on Jaylen Brown. You quit on him. It wasn't just him forcing his way out, trying to go on stream just to stir up drama. The man he's a man of his word, and he wants to speak the truth. You are the one who quit on him. You looked at him in the eyes and said, "You're not good enough. You're not good enough for us."
It's because people can't take the truth anymore. People are too fucking sensitive nowadays that the truth literally physically hurts them and they cannot wrap their brains around it. So a person like Jaylen Brown, which honestly, that's my kind of person. I want to be told the truth. I'm the same way. I say the truth and nothing but the truth.
Which is exactly why this is such a cowardly move by Brad Stevens,
Right.
honestly.
Exactly.
Because when the Giannis trade is a whole different thing. When the Giannis trade failed, I solely believed that your best option was to keep Jaylen Brown and mend that relationship back together.
That's literally what we said, 2 weeks ago?
What this package shows is that Brad Stevens didn't even try to mend the relationship back with Jaylen Brown. He just said, get out.
He said,
get
fuck
out.
man.
This is a cowardly move. You were not man enough to go back to Jaylen Brown, talk things over, potentially pay him, and say, hey, we value on this team. We effed up by trying to trade you for Giannis, and we need you. Get on your knees, pull your hair back, and get ready to effing take it, quite frankly. You were not man enough to do that. Pause.
Yeah, what do you know about that, Josh?
Now I get it from you.
I don't have enough hair to do that.
But it was a
I don't
coward
know if that's
move.
PG. We're going to take that out of the episode.
No, we can.
You mentioned something I want to get Sarah's opinion on, and we don't know how long we have Sarah here, but
We have Sarah for another 7 minutes.
Perfect.
10 minutes.
So he mentioned
Where's number 7?
it was Jaylen Brown, not anymore.
Got it.
Paul George wears 7 now.
No, he doesn't.
Not Paul George. I hate Paul George.
Really thought that he was a drag queen. Truly.
Is he on the Diddy list?
He's on the Don't Bet Them Diddy list. He's number 1 on the Don't Bet Them Diddy list. I have lost, and he might be a great guy. I know very little about Paul George as a human being.
Is he actually?
No. So the Don't
not
Bet Them
the
Diddy
Diddy
list
list.
is a list I have of players I've lost money gambling on.
Oh, okay.
Tom,
I'm
just
so
bet
confused. I was like, wait, really?
Yeah.
Tom, just bet his unders.
Ooh, maybe I bet his unders. But you know how I feel about betting unders, bro. You know my philosophy on betting unders. It's for wimps. Who the hell wants to bet an under? But either way, Sarah. So Josh brought up Tatum he still hasn't, Jaylen Brown, I think a few hours ago made his post.
Released, yep.
Tatum has not made a statement yet. And I know, I did as well. I know before any moves had been made, there was a lot of noise around, well, why hasn't Tatum said anything in support against, why is he being so quiet? And again, personally, because Tatum's my glorious king, I was like, you know what? I don't need my star athlete, my superstar, to be super involved publicly with the roster and all that, and complaining about this guy's contract and that guy's contract and being like, ooh, I would have loved to have Giannis in the media. I don't want that. But now this is different. This is different now.
Comment on possible trade rumors and all that crap. That doesn't.
He's not that type of guy.
Exactly. But when it comes down to someone who you played with for how many years?
Yeah, I mean, his entire NBA career he's played with Jaylen Brown. So now at this point, it's been
he considered a good friend.
Well,
I'm sorry, but I think it's cowardly.
Well, now, this is why I want you to, because this is, the social media where this is, I mean, I don't want to say teenage girl drama, but this kind of fits into that category of, this is like when the girls don't comment, you look beautiful, XOXO in the comment section. Like, you're going to be spited by that, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't really care, but
okay. But the average female would be spited by that. So like to me, it's at what point does it become? Why have you not made a statement? I mean, when Marcus Smart was traded, he had one up there real quick. When Tingus Pingus was traded, he had one up there real quick. When Drew Holiday had one up there, it was out there real quick. And I'm not going to go back and check the timestamps, but we're closing in on 24 hours, and it has been radio silence from Jason Tatum. And the only social media activity he's had was late last night. He reposted some clips from the NBA of him and Deuce playing basketball on his Instagram story. So, is this giving us a glimpse through the crack in the door of what Tatum and Brown's relationship really was like? Like, how, as the social media expert, and this is on the show, the
social media
that's
queen.
your role, the FBI agent, the one that looks into social media posting and crap. How do you view this? Like, if you were Jaylen Brown, how would you view that?
I just have this feeling that someone is telling him to kind of be a little quiet and let the fans mourn before saying anything. That's just my first original hunch. Otherwise, I do think he should have posted by now, because 24 hours later is kind of crazy. And you can't tell me he hasn't heard the news. It's literally everywhere. I was at work. I was at a freaking table last night. And one of my customers was like, Jaylen Brown just got traded. And I was like, what?
And you don't think Brad Stevens called him before the deal went down either?
Really?
You don't think he's on that level of importance in the organization where they got overrun by him?
You don't tell your star player this. You don't not tell him this.
Exactly. So, okay. What if Jason Brown, Jesus Christ, why do I always do that?
Similar names.
The second time I've done that. Jason Tatum, I feel like he had a role in it.
So,
the option's on the table.
It's one of the many options on the table. Like, I would not be shocked. And again, there will be no Tatum slander out of these lips right here. But if you were to tell me he was sick of the antics,
the first sentence out of my mouth is, why not Tatum? Because I know that's stupid. But
okay, good. As long as you know that's a bad idea.
This was also a bad idea. Just saying.
Not saying this was a good idea, but to me it was, and that's an interesting way to view it. Like maybe this is what maybe the relationship between the Jays wasn't what we thought it was. I mean, Josh, I know you and I were very big. There's no issues there. They don't need to be best friends, but they can win basketball games. And maybe this was my favorite season, Collins from Jaylen Brown and posting the stats between this year and last year when Tatum was healthy. Maybe that upset Tatum more than we thought it did. And Tatum was fed up, and when the Giannis trade fell through, he's like, I don't want this guy on the team anymore. I want to play with somebody else. And Paul George is objectively a guy he's friendly with. Tatum's friendly with a lot of guys around the league, and Paul George is one of them. So maybe this was, let's go get a guy that I enjoy playing with. Sarah, you're mudded.
No, I'm not.
She's good.
It's stupid.
Knowing Tatum and his personality, there's only two options for me. One, what you just said, Tom, is that Tatum might have a role in this. Or second,
that's what I said.
He doesn't care, because
Josh is disrespecting you like he's the boss in Celtics, and you're Jaylen Brown now, Sarah. How do you feel? What emotions are you feeling? You've been sent to Philadelphia, the scum of society.
Hey, Jason Tatum, quit driving the narrative. Quit driving the narrative, Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
See, he did have a role in this. We knew it.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had a role in it. I would not be surprised.
He either had a role or he didn't care, and he was just like, if you trade him, you trade him. If you don't, you don't.
I can't see him
my nonchalant king.
I'm sorry, I can't see him not caring, because I do feel like Jason Tatum, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care that much. No offense. I don't watch basketball. What do you want from me?
To watch basketball?
He's the best athlete in the city of Boston since Tom Brady. You don't care about him?
No, sorry. I don't watch basketball. But crap. Now I forgot what I was saying. Thanks, Tom.
There's gonna be some slander, so it's okay.
No.
Oh no!
I feel like Jason
Trevor
Tatum,
Lawrence.
like everyone kind of just does what he says, but he puts on this facade for the public eye, and no one really knows who exactly he is unless they know him personally.
I mean, he's a much quieter, he's less outspoken. Like, he is when it comes to personalities, he's like polar opposite to Jaylen Brown. He is, again, like I know I joke like he's my nonchalant king. He's a very nonchalant guy. He shows up, he plays basketball, he's not in the media a ton. He does his, channel work. He's hanging with
I
Deuce.
just do my thing and hoop.
I just want to it's basketball, but it's WNBA. That I just want to touch base on really quickly before I have to head out. And I don't know if you guys saw this.
The Caitlin Clark stuff. We'll take 5-minute sidebar, and then you'll jump out. And then I don't understand why they hate their most marketable player. Like she's the biggest player in the game. And literally everybody hates her in that league, I feel.
Jealousy.
It's exactly what it is, Josh. Women are jealous creatures. I'm a woman. I'll tell you that. That is true. We are jealous people. So are men. Everyone's jealous. It's an emotion. It's human. But the fact...
Some would say Brown was jealous of Tatum.
Shut up. The fact that it wasn't a foul, did they call anything on that play?
So I've seen the clip. I don't know like what was called and what's not. It's just
this AI clip, which it was like her punching her in the throat, which I know actually didn't happen.
No, like I don't know the name of the other player, but she fell and like put her arm or like her forearm on the throat of Caitlin Clark.
Bad.
I don't understand why the refs aren't more protective of her. Because her rookie year was probably the most popular. And again, I have no stats, no numbers, but her rookie year, like there was a buzz around the WNBA. Like people were watching those Iowa games when she was in college. No, when she was in college, she was on Iowa. But now, like, the Indiana Fever are the most popular WNBA team, and it's not a coincidence that it's because of Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand. And then they had like their 30th year celebration, and they put like a graphic up there. And there was a lot of notable WNBA players not on the graphic, but Caitlin Clark wasn't on there. Like, she might not be the best player in the league. Like, A'ja Wilson's probably the greatest women basketball player of all time. But Caitlin Clark's your most marketable superstar. She's the most popular superstar. She is the most popular athlete in your league. Like, she does numbers.
She is the face of the WNBA.
Yes.
Easily.
And they don't protect her, and they don't market her.
But I feel like she will walk away if she doesn't.
It's bad business.
It really is. And it's not safe for her.
She was offered what company or brand offered her a deal coming out of college? Was it Big Ten?
Was it the Big Three?
It was Big Three.
With Ice Cube?
Yeah. It was Big Three. They offered her something before she.
It's a 3v3 basketball league with like a bunch of retired NBA players, Sarah.
Yeah, they offered her something right before she declared for the draft. I believe it was before she declared for it. So I don't know. I don't see her being the type of person to leave.
Like, she loves the game. She loves the game.
I don't see her leaving the WNBA. I instead kind of see her using this as fuel to continue to strive for it, and then say, give her 5 years, maybe she wins a championship by then, maybe 2, maybe a couple other awards, throw an MVP in there. Then you'll hear her in a press conference being like, yeah, everyone here hated me, but yet here I am with all my glory to prove that I'm so much better than these girls. They're just jealous of me. Like, womp womp.
And she's also not been like extremely healthy in her WNBA career. She missed a large portion of the season last year. So like, why would you not protect somebody like this who's
exactly?
I don't know. It's just bad business, like a dumb move by the W.
When you say protect her, are you just talking about the officiating needs to be better, or they need to like purposely?
The officiating, like they should have. If that was SGA or LeBron James and someone did that to, they would be tossed and suspended for like 3 weeks.
Okay.
So in that aspect, like, hey, if you mess with this person, you're gonna there's gonna be repercussions.
I will agree with you on the marketing, though. How often do you see Caitlin Clark on your phone, computer?
The Indiana Fever post game clip, like matchup highlight, the match, like the key matchups, and it's not even her half the time.
But besides those clips that are her, and what marketing do you see about her that isn't just her getting clocked on the side of the court?
The only WNBA clips I have seen from this season are the Caitlin Clark buzzer beater, Caitlin Clark getting beat up, and the Sophie Cunningham meme.
I love Sophie Cunningham.
The marketing is terrible then to show you that they have generational talent, not even women's.
That might be your best take, Sarah.
What?
Sophie Cunningham's great.
I love her.
That might be your best take of all time.
I do. I love her.
She's hilarious too.
She's the best. When she just stood there and pointed at her, I actually died. And she just kept walking forward.
The meme, oh, I love a good meme, and it was just a great meme.
Basketball memes are
But
tough.
like, I think the only person protecting Caitlin Clark in that league is Sophie Cunningham.
Like low-key,
Much.
yes. Like her teammates do a decent amount of job. Like, but that shouldn't be their job to protect her.
No, not at all.
Like,
Not to protect her, but like the ref should do a little bit more.
Sophie Cunningham should not be on the team to be a bodyguard. She should be on
Literally.
the team as a basketball player. But like,
But she's always been a chippy player in her whole
Yeah,
career.
it's
Like you
not
go
to
back
add
and
on
watch
to-
highlights when she was on like the Phoenix team.
it's something to add on to her character. But like,
It really is. That's just
I
she's
don't know
got
if
your
that's
back.
what like how I would think of the term girls go, but I think she's like not gonna let somebody mess with her teammate. I just think that she's like a good teammate. I wouldn't qualify that as like a girl's girl. I think those are two completely different things inside and outside of sports.
I'd hire Sophie Cunningham as a bodyguard. I'd hire her.
But no, I like it, Sarah. I mean, it was big news in the the world of basketball, and it was a good little reset. I know you're gonna get going, Sarah. You got family at the crib. It was great to have you jump on for 25 minutes. We were not expecting this, but Josh was also 25 minutes late, so that kind of worked out favorably. I'm on vacation next week.
Summer's overrated.
It's all right. Nice. Word. All right. So Sarah, it's great to see you. Keep an eye out for Jaylen Brown tweeting and stuff and the social media aspect of it.
Keeping an eye on it right now.
I love Twitter. Twitter's the best of social media. It's so funny. All right. Well, Sarah's going to jump out. Josh and I are going to keep going here with Jaylen Brown. Yeah, like, I think the bet, like, there's no basketball logic behind it. We're going to try to find some basketball logic. And we could go round and round, Josh, about, this was a horrible trade. Brad Stevens, what are you doing? But I don't think that accomplishes anything. And I want to try to accomplish something. Like, I want you to be able to listen and be like, okay, you get some, another insight or maybe a way you weren't looking at it. And I already went with, like, my first thought was Jaylen Brown's value around the league wasn't that high. You went, Brad should be fired. And I know another popular theory, first gut reaction people have had are, wow, Bill Chisholm is just going to tear this thing down to the studs. He doesn't want to pay anybody. And I get that. My response to it would be you trade a max player for a max player, and all you really did with Jaylen Brown, like the big thing is instead of having to worry about paying a guy in 3 years, you have to pay about, like, you're not going to re-sign Paul George. He's on a 2-year contract. One of those years is a player option. You will not. He'll pick up that player option because nobody in the NBA is going to pay him $54 million after the season.
And like, are you gonna tell a guy to turn down $57 million? Like, no.
So it's like to stay out of the repeater tax is this, and then you can load up for a few years and go be all in the second apron and, have a ridiculously high salary. But to me, we are smack dab in the middle of Jason Tatum's prime. And you want to waste 3 years of that kind of, I'm trying to think of a word besides the one I want to use, but like messing around. Like you go, like, and even the moves before, but the moves they made before Jaylen Brown, like Mitchell Robinson, win now move.
They were
Mike
good
Conley,
moves.
Veteran point guard, win now move.
They were good moves.
And then you go and get Paul, like that's not a win now move. Nobody would describe it as a win now move. So I don't know how it again, we're going to keep coming back to this, and you'll hear this 1,000 times in this episode. You've already heard it, and you'll hear it 1,000 times more. And any sort of content you watch talking about Jaylen Brown, it doesn't make sense that this is the move that is made. Like, you can come to you have to look for an external reason, because the reason for this move is not basketball. I don't care what you're going to hear from the Celtics, and we'll get into, they think Peyton Pritchard's going to make a jump, and Ugo's going to make a jump. We're going to get into that in about 20 minutes or so. But this wasn't a basketball reason. It was they were sick of Jaylen Brown reason. Tatum was sick of Jaylen Brown. They needed him out of there. The relationship was unrepairable, which I don't think it was. And, maybe they panicked, or Brad got fleeced, or Bill Chisholm doesn't want to pay a bunch of money, so they move up their money issues, another year. They can get under the tax in a sense, and then they worry about the money later. Like, is this a salary? Like, I wouldn't call it a salary dump because you get a max guy back, but let's not pretend that Paul George is anywhere near a max player.
No, he's not worth a max player. And I think something to even add on to, the reasoning of trading Jaylen Brown is that I think, and this is a really poor way, I think the Celtics are going to try and stir this to make Brown look bad. And I think they're already doing that by the reports coming out saying that the Celtics were frustrated or getting a headache with Jaylen Brown in the streams. That is BS to me, quite frankly. You're telling me the reason you're getting rid of him is because of the streams? That's such a kiddish reason to get rid of a franchise player. And the day after you trade him away, you immediately just put this out there saying that he was giving you a headache about the streams, and that's why you traded him. I think that's BS, and I think you're just saying that just to make him look bad so that the franchise looks better. That cannot just be your reasoning for trading a franchise player. Oh, he does streaming. That bothers us. Paul George does a podcast, by the way. Lots of players have podcasts, by the way. Like, welcome to 2026, where
that's more about, like, it's not that he does a podcast. It's about the content of what he was saying. Like, maybe they were sick of all the flopping, and they were, I mean, let's not pretend that Jaylen Brown didn't say a lot this season. And I know we didn't really care much about it, and we thought it was overblown. But let's be real. Like, he said a lot. You know, the favorite season comment.
But if that bothers you to the point that you have to trade him for a box of paper clips, that's cowardly and childish. That is humiliating. That is
not a good look.
It's a horrible look, and it's the stupidest reason to ever trade for a guy for that kind of value.
You got nothing. Like, this was, you got nothing back. Like, this was going to the strip club and seeing, like, the midday shift strippers. Like, that's what you got back in Paul George. You got the 2 p.m. shift strippers. That's what Paul George is these days.
What do you know about that?
It's not what you mean. No. Everybody knows the best ones are at night, bro. Come on. Who the hell is it? If you're at a strip club at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you got a problem. Respectfully. But it's just like, you trade him for a washed up, like, nothing. Again, we're going to keep coming back to this. This move does not make basketball sense. Paul George is older. He is worse. Like, it doesn't, like, you're not, if this was a younger guy, I could have been talked into it because you're banking on the development.
If this was Pacers, Paul George, fine. If this was OKC George, fine.
And you know what's funny? They could have gotten Paul George 5 years ago, which for Jaylen Brown. They could have got him 5 years ago if they really wanted him that bad.
The thing is, the report was that they originally wanted VJ Edgecombe. Why did you settle?
How do you get talked out of How do you get talked out of Edgecombe?
How do you get talked out of that? You went from, I think the report was 4 or 5 first round picks, VJ Edgecombe and Paul George, and you got talked down to just Paul George, just 2 first rounders and 2 second rounders.
You know what it was? They were like, okay, well, we want Ugo, and you know how they feel about Ugo Gonzalez. Can't trade a 3-point per game player though, who's playing in the summer league this year. Can't trade him.
Red light. We got to put the red lights up, everybody. We can't move Ugo. Put the red lights up, everyone. Everyone stop what they're doing. Ugo's on the market. We need to stop now.
Like that, to me, again, you can't trade Ugo, I guess. So there's, again, like, I don't know how Brad got fleeced like that. Like, again, like, just like, if this was Jaylen Brown for the hypothetical Pelicans package of Trey Murphy and that other big man and a couple picks, better deal.
Easily.
If it was the rumored Trailblazers one, where it was Grant, Sharp, Scoot picks, better deal. Again, you're going to keep coming back to this. There is another non-basketball reason that, and again, we're going to try to make sense of this from a basketball standpoint in about 10 minutes or so, but fundamentally, that is just a thought experiment and trying to cover the Celtics' bases there and, like, seem hopeful, but fundamentally, we both believe this is not a basketball move. There are 3 avenues we've gone over, Josh, of what this was about.
The other thing is, look at the timing of this. This was on the second day of free agency. This wasn't like, there was no timeline on this. He wasn't becoming a free agent. This wasn't like an AJ Brown thing where he was waiting until June 1st. You had all the time in the world to move Jaylen Brown. You had the entire offseason up until September to move Jaylen Brown, but you panicked and traded him as quickly as possible once free agency started. So again, that has to lead into something. There was another factor, a non-basketball factor, that made you trade him away for not only that little, that quickly as well.
Wouldn't it have been smarter to wait out free agency, see which teams didn't miss in free agency, and become a little bit more desperate to make a big move and try to go and get a guy? That seems like a smarter move. And then the other side of the coin is, well, teams have built out their rosters. Maybe Jaylen Brown doesn't fit. Okay, I would argue Jaylen Brown doesn't really fit in Philadelphia right now.
No, especially when he was also off-season in the stream saying that Joel Embiid is a flopper. I mean, I'm not going to try and make it seem like the Sixers lost the trade, because they absolutely fleeced the Celtics. But I don't know if Jaylen Brown and Joel Embiid are going to have the great chemistry either.
I mean, the books still have the Celtics predicted to win more games than the 76ers right now. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on the fit because, again, Boston Sports Podcast, Duckboat Dispatch, like, that's what we're here to talk about. But the fit, like, Jaylen Brown wants to be number one on the team. Like, that we can both agree on. He wanted to and wants to be a number one guy on a basketball team. We can both agree on that. And that was probably some of the reason why he was so upset here in Boston, if he was. And maybe that's part of the reason why they got him out. They shipped him out for nothing because they were sick of putting up with that, which is kind of what I'm leaning more towards every single second. He's not even going to be the number one guy on that team. Like, no. It's Tyrese Maxey's team. And guess what? Tyrese Maxey, ball-dominant player. Joel Embiid, ball-dominant player. VJ Edgecombe?
VJ Edgecombe, there you go.
Ball-dominant player. So Jaylen Brown is Jaylen Brown's in a room with three other ball dominant players. So I don't know how that's gonna work out there.
It's also another disrespectful factor to think of. Like, again, the biggest disrespectful factor is that he literally went for a box of paper clips. But you also trade him to a team where he can't be the
one thing he wants.
Guy. He can't be the leader of a team. Like you just said, Joel Embiid is their guy right now. They're probably their number one option. Maxey's
Tyrese Maxey. I would lean Maxey.
Maxey's a very close second. You could say he is the first.
I would flip it because Embiid's never healthy.
Fair point. Then you can say, you can say that then. So you have those two who are already taking control of the team, and then you have VJ Edgecombe up and rising. So even in the future, once Jaylen Brown's out of it, so like if you have Jaylen Brown now, you're gonna be ball dominant with Maxey and Joel Embiid and Brown. You're gonna have to share that distribution. But then come the future, maybe when Jaylen Brown is due for an extension, your ball dominance is now probably most likely going to be between Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe.
I don't see Philly giving him an extension, by the way. Like, just to throw it out there. I don't see him signing the extension.
You're going to have to pay Maxey and VJ. You're going to have
and he probably wants to actually control where he goes for one time in his career.
Probably.
But then, who knows what the market's going to be like, because I thought the trade market for Brown would have been higher, and as we could see, it was Paul George and 2 first-round picks for Jaylen Brown. So maybe his free agent market won't even be that big. But that, again, that's years down the road. But just to kind of put a bow on the Bill Chisholm ownership thing, if this was a money thing, you're trying to solve a problem before it shows up. Like, this was something that did not need to get done yesterday. It could have waited. It could have been a mid-season deal. Teams get desperate around the trade deadline. Superstars get frustrated throughout the season. It was things you cannot unequivocally deny about this trade. Horrible trade basketball standpoint. A panic move, and then if you want to throw in there, it was a toxic relationship behind the closed doors, or the Celtics were sick of Jaylen Brown, or Tatum was sick of Jaylen Brown, or Tatum wanted him off the team. Like, those first 2 things are unequivocally true. Those last 4 things I listed, those are like that's like your thesis is bad trade, they panicked. Your thesis is okay, and then like the supporting arguments for that thesis are those 4 points I just listed off right there. And it is wild that in a 24-hour span, we have not gotten a statement from the Celtics. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown just posted a while ago his thanks to the city, and who knows if there's another move. I mean, I kept saying, and I still keep saying, there has to be another move in the pipeline, because I can't believe, Josh, that Brad Stevens got done this bad.
And the longer we sit here and wait for someone to say something, the more we're just going to think Brad Stevens is a terrible GM, Chisholm is a cheap bastard, and Tatum is, a toxic person behind closed doors. That's going to be the narrative until we at least hear from one of those guys. The only person we've heard from is Jaylen Brown, who had a statement earlier today, basically just thanking the city of Boston. And in that, he said, it wasn't how I wanted it to end, so on and so on. Which, again, there was something behind closed doors, because it wasn't how Jaylen Brown wanted to end. If it was how Jaylen Brown wanted it to end, the relationship would have been mended, or attempted to be mended, and he would be back on the Celtics. He would still be a Celtic to this day. That's how it would be. But someone took control, someone did something, and forced Jaylen Brown out of here. They quit on him.
It's private equity owning sports teams for you right there. They don't really care about winning. They care about the bottom dollar. And if that's the reason you believe that Jaylen Brown is off the team, like, I can't really hold that against you. And they're just trying to push the money up as soon as possible to get under the tax and out of it as fast as possible. But I do want to try to find What were you gonna say?
If it was, if it was just a money move, and if you're blaming the Celtics for being cheap bastards, why the hell didn't they pay Giannis?
Well, they now have conflicting reports. I saw the one at the start of the show that I mentioned that there was reports that they wouldn't pay Giannis the 3 years. Now I'm seeing one that says they would have paid him the extension. So there's going to be all types of reports. You have to try to, whichever ones you believe in, you have to find a way to make that argument work for you in your own head. That's how I like to use these reports.
If it's from Windhorse, I'm probably going to steer the other way for now.
I can't remember who the hell it was from. But I do want to, there's, last 20 minutes or so of the episode, I do want to try to find a basketball reason for this, because at the end of the day, we want Banner 19, we want the Duck Boat Parade, it's the Duck Boat Dispatch, that's what we want.
Can I start with a question on this aspect then?
Yeah.
So, I'm just going to ask you a straight up question. You tell me which one is better.
Well, this is supposed to be a little bit more hopeful. A little bit more hopeful.
No, I know. That's what I'm doing.
Okay,
That's what
awesome.
I'm doing. So, if we are comparing the starting lineup to last season to this season, last season, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Hauser, Brown, Queta. This starting lineup, assuming Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Paul George, Jason Tatum, Mitchell Robinson.
So that's not what I would do for the starting lineup. I would go White, Shireman, or White, Hauser, Tatum,
I know, yeah.
Paul George,
assuming.
Mitchell Robinson.
Which one sounds better?
Obviously, Tatum better than Brown. That's an upgrade. Brown over, who the hell was the other guy? Brown over Paul George over Shireman. Better, as an upgrade. I don't love Paul George, but that's technically an upgrade.
I know you don't, but just looking at a basketball.
George over Hauser, technically an upgrade. Robinson over Queta, technically an upgrade. Theoretically, I see where you're going. The roster is kind of better, but it's just it could have been even better.
It could have been even better, but people are now saying that you're wasting Jason Tatum's prime. I don't know if I fully believe that, because like we just agreed, the starting lineup, assuming it, coming into this season, is equivalently better than it was last season. You're missing Jason Tatum last year, and now you're missing Jaylen Brown this year. And we're comparing the two lineups, and we're saying the one with Jason Tatum is better. And if we look at last year was a 56-win season, second seed, with no Tatum. And now you essentially replaced...
You had 16 games to Tatum last year in the regular season.
You essentially replace Brown with Tatum, you replace Hauser and Shireman, whoever, with Paul George, and you replace Queta with Mitchell Robinson. You still have White and Pritchard. If Jaylen Brown was able to carry the team to the second seed for a 56-win team, and we say Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown, shouldn't Jason Tatum do the exact same thing with this team?
And I love that point. I agree with it, but I hate to be the negative guy here and go on the other side of the street. What the hell did that get them in the playoffs, though? Regular season success is awesome, but obviously, the Joe Mazzulla has these guys ready to go as regular season tryhards. That's what they are. That's great. It makes going to games fun. It makes watching games every night fun. But when it comes playoff time, they couldn't score. How are you going to score the basketball in the playoffs is what I worry about now. Who's going to, besides Tatum, who's putting their head down and getting their own shot?
Probably they're going to have to bank on Peyton Pritchard.
And that's the thing is, when it comes to, now the basketball reason, they have to believe Pritchard can have, there are reports that they're hoping for a Jalen Brunson level of, Peyton Pritchard next year. Which is crazy to be you want a guy to make a jump to a top 10 player.
That is a lot to ask for, and that is a huge gamble.
It is a gamble. You're gambling on, and don't get it twisted, I love to gamble. But not my basketball team. You're gambling on guys like Peyton Pritchard to make a massive jump. You're banking on Hugo Gonzalez to become the star that you think he is. You're banking on Baylor Shireman to make a big jump. Hell, you're banking on Jordan Walsh to make a big jump. And Jordan Walsh is up, his rookie deal's done at the end of this year. So I don't know how much you can be hoping for him to make a big jump. Ron Harper Jr., you're hoping for a big jump. The two young guys you just drafted, you hope of plug and play guys. You were hoping for so much jump from your young players to fill in the gap around that is now gone without Jaylen Brown, because Paul George himself cannot fill that gap. And you're going to need a second guy to fill that gap in.
And the other thing is if you're banking on young guys, reminder, the two draft picks, the two first rounders that you just got are nowhere near soon. You're going to have to wait at least 2 years for one of them and another 5 years for the next one. So it's not like it's anytime soon. It's not like we're getting them this past draft or next year.
And the biggest gamble, I think, is you're banking on Derek White to have an offensive resurgence, which I don't know how often you see role players have a bona fide role player, a really, really good role player, have a bad offensive year and then bounce back. Like defensively, he's still a defensive team, all defensive team.
Which is why I think the move this offseason was to trade Derek White for a big man.
And maybe they still trade Derek White, but then you don't really have a lot of guards on your team.
But now for what, though? Because you just signed Mitchell Robinson, so do you need a center? Not really anymore. So what, you're going to trade him for another point guard? I mean, you're just running in place at that point.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, Derek White, I thought was the guy to, again, we both thought Derek White, Hauser were the guys to move, and then I was more on the Jaylen Brown's got to go train by the back half of it because I didn't think he'd be happy here after the Giannis trade fell through. But yeah, like from a basketball perspective, having hope looking forward, you are banking on so much to go right. You're banking on Tatum to be the guy that he is post Achilles, which we still don't know what we've seen Tatum play. 25 games post Achilles. You don't again. I have full faith in Tatum coming back and being.
So do
Tatum.
I, especially with the age that he is. Like again, if you're gonna tear your Achilles, not that I would ever want anyone to tear your Achilles. If you are though, do it when you're, at a young prime-ish age, like late mid-20s.
Yeah, and
that's the best spot you can do. And that's
he was playing last year with one leg bigger than the others, and he was still really good. And Paul George, as much as I don't like him, from a basketball standpoint, probably fits alongside Tatum better from the stance that they don't do a lot of the same stuff. Like he's he's still a solid wing defender, and he can play off ball a lot better than Jaylen Brown. Like he's not a guy that's going to command the ball in his hands.
It is something where Joe Mazzulla can now look at this team and be like, Jason Tatum is solely the number one. He is. No one's in contention for it. And Jaylen, and I guess Paul George is year 2 for now, unless Peyton Pritchard really does take a lead.
To develop into that too. Like at some point. I know you're saying they're not wasting Tatum's prime because on paper, you could say you could argue that the roster is better, but if you're going to win an NBA championship, you pretty much need 2 All-Stars. Who the hell is the second All-Star?
Yeah, that's the thing. So I think when people say you're wasting Tatum's prime, is that you gave up so much. Your roster could have been better, but you didn't. So do I think it's a full waste of Tatum? No, but you're leaving a lot on the table here. Because so far, if you ask me, the Celtics and Jason Tatum's career, and throw Jaylen Brown in too, has been underachieving.
I won't go that far.
I think, but would you not say
in any other NBA era? Yes, but not this era. Because name one other superstar who's won 2 championships in this era.
Great point. That's a great point.
The only guys who are winning 2 championships are role players who just bounce to the right team at the right time. So to me, any other era, literally any other era, it's a disappointment because they should have at least 2 to 3 rings. But because of the era we're in where nobody's doing that, you're comparing them to the rest of their contemporaries, and nobody's done that. No,
yeah, and that's why I was just saying it's an underachievement just because what's the point I'm trying to make? It's to
have 2 top 15 guys and not win more than 1 ring.
Exactly, but I mean, then again, you're comparing. Look at the best player in the league, Jokic, only got 1. SGA, second best player in the league, 2-time MVP, only has 1. Giannis, 1. Everyone's got 1. So everyone's an underachiever, essentially.
Yeah, but if everybody's an underachiever, nobody's an underachiever, is the way you have to look at that.
Then everyone's on the same level as each other.
But yeah, maybe from a basketball standpoint, and again, I've said this 1,000 times, I'll keep saying this, we are not in favor of this trade. We think it's a horrible trade, we're not happy with it, but from a basketball standpoint, maybe the roster does fit from a fundamental standpoint better. Now you don't have 2 guys, because what was our big issue with how the playoffs ended up? Because it would be, with the play style of the other Celtics in the playoffs, it would be.
It was a lot of iso ball, and it was just a lot of one-on-one with Jaylen Brown. Like Jaylen Brown, it's my turn. Now Jason Tatum says it's my turn. Back and forth, back and forth, and then it's kick out to 3.
Now you won't have that. Now you'll have better ball movement, and maybe they're hoping for what their strength was last year was these young guys kind of any given night, one of them could pop off. And now with Tatum around, you think, okay, Tatum's better than Brown. That's an upgrade. The young guys will play better alongside Jason Tatum because, again, analytically, Jaylen Brown is a bad basketball player, apparently, and a net negative out there. So these young guys are going to play better. I mean,
he's apparently honestly, the 7th best player.
It really is funny team. That, 3 days ago, he was bitching and moaning about analytics being AI basketball, and he got dealt. And one of the reasons they'll back up on is freaking analytics. That is objectively hilarious.
You're buying into his point. You are literally proving his point correctly that a 7th best player on a basketball team. Are you bleeping? Are you bleeping me right now?
I mean, that was just some moronic report. That's not really true. I mean, he's a top 6 player. He literally finished top 6 in MVP voting. You can't say that and believe it. Well, no, like that objectively is a little bit funny, but maybe that's what they're hoping for. That it'll be a better flow, there'll be better vibe, and like more guys will get touches, and then like maybe that works out in the regular season. But I get worried in the playoffs because come playoff time, the thing that I was really looking forward to if they got Giannis was late fourth quarter. You have a guy who's going to put his head down and get to the basket because that's what we saw Jaylen Brunson do, and it won them an NBA championship because he could get to the basket and hit a layup. I love Jason Tatum, but he settles for so many jump shots.
Yeah,
when he can, with his frame, he should be going to the basket more.
What is he, 6'9"?
6'10".
6'10", 6'9", 10, whatever. He's tall. Yeah.
And he's big. He's not like 6'10" and Wemby. He's 6'10" and jacked.
And the other thing with the Paul George trade is that you're not trading for a guy like Giannis. You're trading for just another small forward who's kind of a shot creator. And so now your play style hasn't changed much besides, Mitchell Robinson. That's the only real part of your play style that has changed. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. The tunnel is dark right now because we're all coming off this trade, immediate reaction saying it's god awful. Once the season starts, though, I think we'll be okay. Not like number 1 seed, glorified, lock in to win the championship. But for people saying that's going to be a waste of Jason Tatum's prime, it's going to be a gap year, just like you were saying last year, I think we're going to be okay. I think everyone just take a breath, drink some water, maybe take a Tylenol. I don't know. We're going to be okay. Basketball-wise. Office-wise, I can't tell you that much.
I still really don't see how this is, like, maximizing Tatum's prime. You can't convince me it's maximizing Tatum's prime.
I'm not saying it is. Because if you were, you would keep Jaylen Brown and keep running it back with these two because they're the best duo in the league. Well, not anymore. But I don't think you're completely destroying it. I don't think it's completely just out the window. I don't think you just traded Jaylen Brown and be like, here, take Jason Tatum's prime with it. Take it. I don't think you are. I still think you're going to see a good season, I still think. You will see a good season. Will it be the best season? Odds would probably favor not. But I don't think we're going to be bottom of the barrel. I don't think we'll be in the lottery. I don't think we'll be in the play-in based off last season.
I mean, they'll still be a 50-win team.
And with how weak the East is compared to the West, top 4 seed, I still think. Top 4 seed with this team. The 2 other seeds will probably be Philly and New York. Maybe the Miami Heat take a huge lead. No, I don't really think so. But give me 3 or 4 for the Celtics. Or way too early prediction. Give me the 3rd seed or the 4th seed with this team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still at a loss for words.
Everyone is. I'm trying to make light of this. I'm like, Tom, I'm right here with you. I'm pissed. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I probably have, I will admit, hand up accountability. I cried. I am a 22-year-old man who cried over Jaylen Brown getting traded. I am so upset because I'm gonna remember that next time. Next time you're freaking out, I'm bringing that up.
It was right there, bro. Come on.
It was. But my favorite player has been dealt to the team I hate the most. And I am a very unbiased basketball player. I try to look at the entire NBA favorably, but the fan in me does not like the Sixers and loves Jaylen Brown. So I am depressed. I am pissed. I cried about it. I am admitting it on live YouTube and Spotify and wherever else you get your podcast. I'm admitting that I'm a 22-year-old man who cried over the Jaylen Brown getting traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. I can't remember the last time I cried, but this managed to make me do it. But I am choosing to find some light, and the some light is it's still a good basketball team. It's still a good basketball team. Is it a good trade? Hell no. This is a terrible trade. Worst trade in franchise history. But don't let it consume you completely. Because once the season starts, I bet you will be okay.
And it's not like I'm not even sitting here like, oh my God, we can't believe like Jaylen Brown's gone. Like that is gone. Like that's not what I'm thinking. I'm just thinking about what is what is the next move? Because I still, maybe it's denial, maybe it's delusion. I still believe there was another move in the chamber that they're going to make that'll make this deal make a little bit more sense to me. Like maybe they needed more draft picks to go out and get a guy like Trey Murphy, and then you have because I still think you need a proven ball dominant guy who can go down and get a bucket. Like,
do you think that move is to flip Paul George?
You can't flip Paul George for like 90 days, I think.
Exactly.
And depending on, I think a good sign to tell, and I can't say I stole, like, this is an original idea, like Nate and I were talking about this. A good way to tell how serious they are about Paul George is how early the press conference comes. Like, if they wait a couple of months to do the press conference, if they're not that serious, they're going to move him at some point. But if it's in a week or two, they're looking forward to it. Like, they're excited. He's going to be a big part of this team, they hope. But I just keep, like, thinking, like, what's the next move? Because from some standpoint, now we can fully build around Tatum. We don't have to think about, how do we find guys to complement Tatum and Brown the best? Like, how do we surround Jason Tatum with the players that are going to maximize his play style and his play set and his talents? And that is, something they've never done before, because it's always been, how do we build around the Jays? How do we have to build around them? Now it's, what can we do to best surround Tatum with talent to win NBA championships? And I think this was the first move of opening up more flexibility to do that, is kind of where I'm at right now. And I have gone through all the emotions in the 50 minutes we've been on the pod.
Especially when you are still making win-now moves. Like you said at the beginning of this episode, Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley are win-now moves. So clearly the Celtics are still in on winning now. And I think this team can win a championship? Honestly, no. So, which is why you still need to go out and make moves. The roster, the depth is not there for me, because your depth is too young and undeveloped. Unless, Ugo and Shireman really turn out to what you want them to be, because you didn't deal them.
3-point per games, bro. That 3-point per game is going to be massive.
So unless you're taking the biggest
he
gamble.
and Paul George combined averaged 10 points less than Jaylen Brown last year. Just a little. Throw that out there.
So unless you want to take the biggest gamble of your life, Brad Stevens, and bank on all these young guys to take a giant leap, you need to go out and make another move, because this team is not winning a chip this year. And I'm not saying that because you just lost Brown. I'm saying that because the depth is not there. Derek White just had a bad season. Don't know how he's going to do. And now Peyton Pritchard is going to be taking a much, much bigger role than he has than his entire. This will be his biggest role in his entire career.
Like, who else is playmaking on this team to get guys open besides Jason Tatum? Like, who else is doing that? You don't have that.
Like, maybe Derek White now and then, but not really.
No, like, he is better off-ball player. Like, that's what he is.
You are gambling on so much this season. So this whole season is going to be a gamble. It's going to be a game of roulette. And Tom, I know you love roulette.
I am a sucker for roulette,
but I don't think this is a game of roulette you want to play.
No. Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it, is like they took a massive swing and gamble here, and the reason for it, I'm sure we won't get a definitive answer, but you can come up with, like, everybody has their own opinion. Josh, you blame Brad Stevens for just being a moron. You probably sprinkle more like Tatum wanted him out of there than anything.
I blame Brad for now because I don't have a press conference.
But, like, yeah, Brad made a bad move, but why did they make the move is what I'm kind of getting at here.
My opinion can vary depending on...
Okay, but right now you're sitting here, why do you think they made the move? I think they made the move because... What the hell did I say? What the hell did I even say? I can't remember what the hell I said.
I can't remember what you said.
I think they panicked and they thought Jaylen Brown had more value, and the NBA doesn't value Jaylen Brown. Is kind of where I went.
I think it was a panic move and a childish move, and I think Brad Stevens just
because you think they couldn't repair. They were worried about hurt feelings, exactly. And they didn't want to put up with Jaylen Brown's Twitch streaming.
I did not think there was an attempt to mend the relationship. So I think Brad Stevens panicked and he just completely collapsed and he folded in front of everyone.
Yeah, and I think I lean more like the value obviously wasn't as high. They wanted to get him out of there. Like that's the way I lean. And everybody probably, like, you could probably lean, everybody's gonna say they panicked. They didn't really have a plan B when they missed it on Giannis, and they panicked, and they were sick of Jaylen Brown. They didn't think they could repair the relationship. They wanted him out of there. The owner was too cheap. The private equity fund and all that hoopla. But there's like 1,000 ways we can take this. And 1,000 ways we went, and 1,000 ways we haven't gone. Is there a new report out, Josh?
No, I'm just looking. I'm keeping an eye on Twitter just in case, because it's still free agency and things are just blowing up.
Yeah, and a guy I would love to get back is Anthony Simons, and guess where he went, Josh? Philadelphia.
There is a sign right out front of the The
The
Garden.
garden I saw on the Bobby
Saying-
Orr statue.
Yeah, right on Bobby Orr. It says sell the team, and then in small print at the bottom, thank you, Jaylen. Which
Yeah, and I think
Sell
we'll
the
end. I'm
team,
not ready to
I
end
think
yet
is
because I'm
unfair.
still just bouncing so many ideas around in my head, and I know I've gone
There-
like kind of mute,
and
but
it
like I
makes-
just can't. Like I'm trying to find a way, like a move that they could make that'll make the team better.
It makes sense that you're bouncing around because we still have no answers. Again, we have not heard from Jason Tatum at all this offseason. The last time we heard from Brad was
The
post-draft. Post-draft. And we haven't heard from anyone, high up front office management. We haven't heard from anyone, really. So there are so many open-ended questions. Why did Brad do it? Does Jason Tatum have a role? Does Mazzulla have a role? We haven't heard from Mazzulla in a while. Was this a money move made by the front office? Was Jaylen Brown... I know we just got a statement from Jaylen. How bad was the relationship between Jaylen Brown and so-and-so? Was it bad with Tatum? Was it bad with Brad Stevens? Was it bad with Mazzulla? Was it bad with the front office? Was it bad with the media and that Jaylen Brown got so sick of being disrespected? There are a lot of open-ended questions for this trade. And like it doesn't stop here. It's not just, we trade Jaylen Brown. So yeah, I don't want to say lore, but there's a lot to this story yet to be uncovered. There's a lot more chapters to this that we have yet to read.
And you're right, like only more information is going to come out, and you have to try to decipher which reports are real, which reports are not. And I'm not saying that all these reporters are making up lies. It's just which sourcing is actually good and telling you the truth.
I'll say this: if he does hop on stream, I'm probably going to believe 99% of what Jaylen Brown says. Because when was the last time Jaylen Brown lied about something?
Yeah, and I think obviously like he'll be pushing a narrative on stream for sure. But
so
like,
will
I'm
the
sure
Celtics.
he's not going to pull any punches. Like, what does he have? What does he have to protect about the Boston Celtics? Like, is he trying to save face to get his jersey retired or something?
I think the only thing Jaylen Brown won't do is slam the community and the people of Boston, because he did say that some people are trying to get him out of Boston, but I think majority, especially with the statement that he came out earlier today, he still loves the city of Boston and has much respect for the community that he built here. And the people of Boston still love Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, and like
So
I would say
think
majority fans are upset about this.
Yes,
like there are
and
definitely people out there who are like God, couldn't stand this guy. But there's that with every basketball player.
I think the only safe people is us, quite frankly, the fans. I think we were the only safe ones. Other than that, Jaylen Brown has nothing to lose with Brad Stevens, Mazzulla, Tatum, Chisholm, the rest of the organization, and quite frankly, the rest of the team too. He has nothing.
I mean, he's
to lose.
already taken pop shots at the ownership group, saying that they dumped salary in one of his last Twitch streams.
And it's not like he would be ruining his image by doing this, because he's already called out a lot of the league.
That's who he is. That's who he is.
He's called out the league on, the flopping with SGA. He called out his, new teammate Joel Embiid on flopping. So it's not like if he comes out and does this, he'll be this new villain in the league who hates his teammates. You already knew this. You already knew that Jaylen Brown was going to hop on stream and speak his truth. He's going to state his source. You already know that. So it's not like, don't make Jaylen Brown this villain, even though you've already made him a monster, is what he said. So maybe that's how the league's going to view him now. But he has nothing to lose if he hops on stream again and says, blame these people. These people suck. It was because of this.
And it's just it's a sad way for the Jays era to end. Like none of us, you and I were not ready for the era, like to watch the Jays. Like the last game they ever played together was game 6. Like that stinks.
I will say I didn't believe this duo was for life, because I thought eventually maybe once their talent dies down.
No, we both knew they weren't for life.
Once their talent dies down, you would maybe see one of them get shipped out for draft picks. But I didn't expect, while they're both in their prime, for one of them to be traded for, again, a box of paper clips in a dramatic behind-the-scenes fashion.
And like theoretically, trying to capitalize on Jaylen Brown's value at an all-time high after his best season isn't even a move I can like that fundamentally is what they tried to do right there, and they whiffed on it completely. Like fundamentally, Jaylen Brown just put up a top 6 MVP year. Some would say he should have been the MVP. 52-win season, what the hell it was, second seed in the East, and they tried to capitalize on his value, and you ended up with Paul George and draft picks. From a fundamental standpoint, I can't hate the decision to try to capitalize on like his value, but you whiffed so bad on it is the thing.
So badly, and I'll say I never even wanted to trade for Giannis but you got and like
Oh my God! Imagine if we had Giannis right now. We'd be feeling so much better, Josh.
But here's the and you can call me if I'm going too far, you can say that. But you got greedy and tried to get Giannis instead of just saying, "Hey, we have a top 15 guy." But you got greedy and said, "Let's go
I
get
hate that take, Josh. I hate that take.
let's go get a top 10 guy."
No, I hate that take. I absolutely hate that
But
take.
you-
I'm
you
always
talk-
a guy that's like, hey, let's get greedy and let's get more. Let's be better. Like they got greedy when they got Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday and put together one of the best rosters in the modern era. Like I love when they get greedy.
But
I
you
love
do,
it.
but essentially
Double down, keep that like literally. You hit a number, keep it on the number. 200 on red hits, keep it like let it ride.
How to gamble?
Get greedy. You can always improve your roster.
Get greedy. How to gamble with Tom? But I think what you can agree on with me with the Giannis trade at least, it was boom or bust, and you busted.
Yeah,
You failed, and now it turned into a colossal mess. It turned into a tornado that you cannot control now, and you panicked.
And now you're stuck with way off P.
And you are now with. We need a nickname for him. Pawtucket Pete.
Off the backboard, George.
I don't know. I feel like it's got.
I mean, I love these off the backboard, dude. I cannot.
Pawtucket
You know
Pete.
what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen is it's gonna be there's like that 13-minute video on YouTube of people hitting game winners over Paul George, 2 of which are Jason Tatum.
Shout out.
And it's gonna be Jaylen Brown just hit a game winner on him on Philly. And you know what the funny thing is, Josh? Is Paul George outplayed Jaylen Brown in the playoff series, and we are still so pissed about this. Like,
then maybe we're going solely off of playoff performances, and maybe we say like, hey, Jaylen Brown, even though I disagree with this, Jaylen Brown didn't do well in the playoffs, but look who did, Paul George. Let's go get him.
He outplayed him, and like Jaylen Brown put up some egregiously horrible shots in that series.
I will say, and I don't know the schedule off the top of my head. I'm scared when he returns back to the Garden.
The schedule isn't out yet, but that was the first thing I looked at. I was like, tickets.
When Jaylen Brown comes back to the Garden, I'm not a big sports gambler. Tom, I know you are. Hammer Jaylen Brown's overs. Hammer all of them. All of them.
Obviously,
All of them.
this is a guy who's going to get a long tribute video. Fans are going to be emotional that night. It's going to be a big night at the Garden. Tickets will be expensive, and we'll get into this next week because this is a topic I want to get into. Like 7 should be in the rafters when he's done, all said and done.
I'll give it to you.
1,000%, and we'll get more into that next week, I think, because I think this is kind of a good place to end, Josh. It is a sad way for our final, even though I don't think he should have won Finals MVP. It's a sad way to see our Finals MVP go. A guy, a longest tenured Celtic, the energy shifter, the vibes guy. It's a tough way to see Jaylen Brown go out, but now we got to move on. And it's what move does Brad have next? I can't wait to see what happens next. I don't think we're done. What does the roster look like? I think this is an incomplete roster. You need a ball handler. You need a guy who can actually put the ball on the floor. You need a playmaker still. So we'll see what happens next. There's still so much that's going to come out within the next week. We'll be back next week. I'm on vacation, so it'll be a Josh and Sara show. If there's breaking news, obviously we'll tap in and we'll do some live reactions. So make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the Duck Boat Dispatch for all of that live reaction content. Make sure you comment, subscribe, like, repost, share with a friend, be a friend, tell a friend. Sharing is caring. For the full podcast episodes, we're up on YouTube at the Duck Boat Dispatch. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, interact with the post. If you just want more of an audio version of that, maybe you're in the car listening, you want just the audio version, we are on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts as well. Finding the Spotify is a pain in the ass for some reason, but if you go to the Instagram, Sara set up a beautiful link tree, and right in there you'll see Spotify, so if you follow, you'll never miss an episode. This was episode 55 of the Duck Boat Dispatch. That's a Jeff Teague episode right there, Josh. He wore 55 in the Boston Celtics right there.
Is that gonna be the new thing? We gotta come up with
maybe low key. This was the insert player.
Yeah, but now we're at the
56.
50s.
But you got the linebackers who wore 56.
We're on linebackers and offensive line numbers. We already went through the ones and the twos.
Yeah, but this was the Jeff Teague episode. Loss of words. Don't know what's next. Something has to be next. But what we do know is that 28-year-old Jaylen Brown is no longer a Boston Celtic in the prime of his career, and we now have 36-year-old Paul George. That is what we know for a fact. We now have the Jay era. The Jays era is over. It is the Tatum era now. It is unequivocally, I don't care what you want to argue, it is unequivocally his team now.
And in the end, we kept Ugo and Shireman. We did it.
Tatum,
We
Ugo, and
did it.
Shireman. That's your big three.
We kept Ugo and Shireman. We did it, guys. Round of applause.
Dude, who the hell wants Derek White, Tatum, and Acampo when you can have Tatum, Ugo, and Shireman?
The league tried to fleece us and steal away Ugo and Shireman. The two.
You know what also pisses? You know what? This trade also pisses me off.
The next J duo, Ugo and Shireman.
You know what also pisses me off? It's not like they moved wings to open up spots. They moved Jaylen Brown away because he was in the way of Ugo and Shireman's development. They traded him for another goddamn wing. And you know what they're going to do? Take away minutes from Ugo and Shireman. They're not going to get 25 a night. Ugh. We got to stop.
God.
Next episode.
God, Ugo's not going to be a starter this year. Oh,
It just makes no basketball sense. Like, that's what I keep coming back to. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll keep saying it. It makes no basketball sense until we hear Brad talk or see another move and, like, the pieces add up. Right now, we're in the middle of the storm and we cannot see a way out. But once you see the way out, the path is there. You're stuck in the forest. You need the path. And right now, the path has been muddied down in water. Is there news, Josh?
One last Twitter check. Just for any breaking news, and
Nothing.
hold on, it's loading. Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. So we'll see. We're in the middle of the storm right now. Boston sports fans, it's a tough go right now because the Red Sox stink. There is no Patriot football. The Bruins made a trade, but who the hell really cares about the Bruins right now? The Celtics made just the worst trade, one of the worst trades in NBA history, the worst trade in franchise history. I would argue it could be up there with the Luka trade, depending on what happens next. But again, that's for next week when we're a little bit more level-headed. They're a few steps away from it. We have a little more concrete answers going on right now. But that'll do it for episode 55 of the Duck Boat Dispatch. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you stay tapped in because we're going to be covering this all the way through. So make sure you come back next week.